Have you ever asked someone to do something and they didn't do it? Doesn't feel great, does it? What did Jesus ask you to do as his disciple? He said, go make disciples. Good morning and welcome to 755 Live. For about 5 minutes, you'll hear all about easy to remember soundbite versions of what Jesus said. And the point is to help you experience life to the fullest, the Jesus way. Today's Jesus Said comes from Matthew 28:19. That's from our weekday Bible plan at bible.today.church. Today we're going to read through verse 20, where Jesus said in verse 19, "Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit." Now, to set a little context here before we go on, in verse 18, he had just said, all authority has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples. Verse 20, teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And remember, I am with you always to the end of the age. Now, it doesn't seem like we should have to ask this question, but we actually do. What does go mean? It sounds like a silly question. But based on how we often ignore these simple instructions, maybe it's not a silly question. This wasn't some empty command. We have been given both the authority and the power to do exactly what Jesus said. Go make disciples. Now, after an exhaustive study of the original meaning and context, I've come to the amazing conclusion that go doesn't actually mean don't go. It means go. So why don't we obey this clear command? Somehow, this seems to have become an optional part of following Jesus. What is a disciple anyway that we're supposed to go and make? Well, maybe the reason we don't go is that we've wimped out on what a disciple really is. Jesus made disciples. And what did those disciples do? They obeyed his commands and made disciple makers. And we see evidence of that in Acts 2 as the Lord added to the church daily, not once a week, not at just an event, not at just one place, but every day, every place, everywhere. Why don't we see that? Well, Jesus didn't disciple the crowd. Thousands showed up for the miracles, the free food, and the great stories. But Jesus poured the truth of God's kingdom into a dozen ordinary men that would change the world. He did life with them, and they learned to do what he did. So who are we doing life with? Who are the disciples we are making? You know, for too long, just personally, I counted the crowd as disciples, but I wasn't actively going daily to make disciple makers. A disciple is a disciple maker. And a disciple maker is a disciple. It's the same side or two sides of the same coin. First, we have to accept that fact. A disciple is a disciple maker and settle for nothing less. That's the only metric that really matters. Jesus never said, go plant churches, go build buildings, go form organizations, go change politics. None of those things are bad, but are we making disciple makers? Imagine if Jesus said, go make pepperoni pizza and gave us the recipe for that, and we spent all the time analyzing the recipe and trying to make it easier to follow and thought, well, maybe making chicken Alfredo pizza would be better because it's more popular. Or we just built a bunch of pizza places where no one ever really made pizza, but just collected all the supplies in the recipe. Had Jesus said, make pepperoni pizza, that's what we should actually be making. And it would be easy to see if we were actually doing it because the proof would be in the pizza. In the same way, Jesus said, go make disciples. And the only way and the only evidence that we have that we're obeying his commands is if we are making disciples that make disciples. Jesus said, go make disciples of all the nations. And the proof is in the pizza. Where are the disciples making disciple makers? We have no business spending all of our time trying to fix the evil in the world when we aren't even obeying what Jesus said. Go make disciples. How can you put that into action today? Well, it starts with go. Thank you so much for listening. If this is meaningful to you, it really means a lot to me when you like it, when you comment, when you share. I appreciate all the support. And I hope that you have an amazing day, and I hope this time together has helped you live life to the fullest, the Jesus way. And remember, follow Jesus today. Love first. And don't forget to go.